Hey guys, welcome to Full Out Flying Solo. I just got back from Nashville, and so I wanted to talk about that because I got to do a debut performance at the Opry. They call it, like, I made my Opry debut, which was so epic to perform at the Grand Ole Opry. It was like, I mean, it's just such an iconic, legendary venue. So to be a part of it is, my reps told me that I'm like the second female comic that they've invited to do it. So that also felt really special. And I know Leanne Morgan had done it before, but it feels like I grew up in Texas, you know, on and off, and I listened to country music my whole life with my mom, and I know every 90s country song. And so my mom came out for one night. She was there for 2 nights to go to the Opry with me. And so it was such a cool, special thing. It also ended up being kind of stressful because right before I left, I got something where I lost my voice, and I completely lost my voice. And I got a steroid shot and like an antibiotics shot, and then like this whole like Z-Pack thing, because he's like, you have a sinus infection. And my voice came back for a second after I got the steroid shot, and then it was gone again the next day. So I flew to Nashville, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to talk at all. I'm just going to be like on vocal rest on the plane, because that was Monday and I was supposed to perform on Tuesday. And I had a 5-hour layover because my flight got delayed in Phoenix. So I went to Target and bought like a personal steamer and was like steaming my face in the airport because I was just like, I have to get my voice back for tomorrow. And I ended up getting into Nashville like 1 a.m. and my mom was there. She had like gone to the hotel because she got there that day too. And I got to do this Opry radio show at 8 a.m. on Tuesday. So I woke up and my voice was like, I could talk like this much. I was like talking like this. And I went to do this radio show, and I'm like, the whole time I'm like, okay, I have to find a way to get another steroid shot because this is like not good. And my managers came in town for it, and it was the Nashville Comedy Festival. So there was a bunch of shows going on that week as well. But this was just like the kickoff for me for the rest of the week. And they were like, we're not missing the Opry. So they came with me, which was so fun. But my manager picked me up to take me to this radio show. And I hadn't told them about my voice yet because in my mind, I was like, I'm going to wake up and my voice is going to be back. So I'm not going to panic everybody. And so he picked me up and I was like, hey, just a heads up. And he's like, oh my God. He's like, of course, like nothing can be easy. There has to be like something going on. And I was like, that's kind of how I roll. I like show up like a whirlwind of chaos. I feel like I seem very like together, but on the inside, I'm like, I have no voice. I have this like huge show tonight that's like one of the biggest shows of my career, and like such a special like honor. Like it's such an honor to be asked to do that. And I was like, don't worry, I'm going to get into a doctor to get my voice back. So I go to do this radio show, and it's called like Coffee, Country, and Cody or something. But the woman who, one of the hosts, her name's Kelly Sutton. She's my new best friend. I show up, and I'm thinking like, they're going to be so mad at me that I don't have a voice. I don't know why. I always think I'm in trouble. I'm like, they're going to be so upset with me. I'm in trouble. Everyone's mad at me. And she's like, oh, come here. She's like, spray this in your throat. And she gave me this thing to spray in my throat. And she's like, we're so excited you're here. Spray this in your throat. Put these cough drops in your side of your mouth. Keep them in your mouth. And she's like, and we're going to get you all fixed up by tonight. Don't you worry. And like, she's texting like famous country singers while we're on the show, being like, who should she go to? What doctor should she go to? And she's like telling me who she's texting. I was like, oh my gosh. And she's like, okay, you need to go to Vanderbilt Vocal Institute, which is like this place that everyone flies in from around the world if something's wrong with their voice. Like singers fly in to go to this place. And she's like, you have to try and get in there. I don't know if they'll be able to get you in because it's like, you know, it's a big deal place. And I was like, okay, my mom's in town, so she'll definitely be able to get me in there because my mom is relentless. My mom's like a sweet, nice little lady from Texas, but she will not take no for an answer. And I also was like, I don't care. I'm just going to show up there if they won't see me and be like, I need a shot right now. But since you're in Nashville, everybody knows like how big a deal the Opry is. So my mom was calling doctors and being like, she's making her debut at the Opry and she needs to get a steroid shot. And people were like, oh, okay, let's see. And like everybody in Nashville is so nice. And everybody was like, okay, we're going to help you. And I ended up getting into this place. And I just really wanted them to give me a steroid shot so that I could have a voice for that night. And the doctor, you know, they're like a legit place. And they're so nice. And they they did a scope down my nose. They did it first they did it in my throat. And then they're like, can't see enough. So they did this whole scope down my nose. And me and my mom are sitting there the whole time being like, just give us a shot. We just need a shot. But like, we'll play along and like do the whole thing. But they brought in a speech therapist because they're like, we're going to try and knock you out of your lost voice. And I was like, I don't think you can knock me out of this. Like if I go like, hey guys, like it's still nothing's coming out. Like, and I also feel like they're used to working with singers who can do all these like vocals. They were having me do all these like vocal things. And I was like, it's not working. And then they also made me read a poem that they like videoed me reading the poem. And something about like the rainbow or something. And I just wanted to be like, the rainbow is multiple colors. Now shoot me up with whatever you got because I need to get my voice back. And so they eventually, I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to give me a shot or not? But it's pretty dangerous to get 2 steroid shots, I guess. And he was like, okay, I'm going to give you the shot, but you have to promise me that you won't. I had multiple shows that week and I had another big show on Saturday that I needed to do. And he's like, if you do the Opry tonight, then you like can't do any of your shows until Saturday because you could get this like bleed behind your vocal cords and your voice could just completely go out. And he's like, so if you all of a sudden just cannot speak at all, you need to come back. And my mom was like, does she need to come back like immediately? Is it like and they're like, no, just like come back. So I was like, okay. So I'm thinking I'm like gonna have to cancel everything, but I'm like, okay, I got this shot. Great. My voice came back so much. I probably sounded like this, which is how people want me to sound anyways, a little raspy and like more grown up. I feel like whenever I lose my voice, people are like, yeah, we like you like this. Stay like this. I'm just like, I can't. I mean, I might now because maybe I have a ton of scar tissue. This might just be my voice for the rest of my life. So I get this shot. I go and do the Opry. It's so cool when you go there. You pull up and they have like a parking spot sign for you. I brought it. They ended up giving it to me. They like have this for you. Reserved. So cool. It says like Opry, you know, it was awesome. And I told my reps, I was like, does this also work at the Warner Brothers lot? Because that's where I really want this sign to be for me, to have my own parking spot there. But that was so cool. And then you check in and the guy at the front has like been there forever and his name's Jim and he's so excited for you. And then you get this debut dressing room. So you're like in the backstage of the Opry where there's like all of these like epic dressing rooms and they have quotes from everybody who's like been there on the wall, like Taylor Swift's quote. Taylor Swift's quote is so funny because I feel like some of the other quotes are like, I decided this is what I wanted to do the rest of my life. Like they're all kind of like, you know, meaningful. And Taylor Swift's is like, oh my God, I'm at the Opry. And that's on the wall and it says Taylor Swift. So that was cool to like be back there. And then I was performing between like a bunch of country singer acts. And I was like, do they like stand-ups in between all of this stuff, you know? Because you never, I feel like if you are opening for like a musician as a stand-up, it's always a little risky, but this was different because they make a big deal about the fact that it's your debut at the Opry. And I felt like my set went really well. The stage, it's just like so cool to be out there. And then they do like a little Q&A with you on stage after to be like, how was it making your debut? And it was the woman from The Morning, my new best friend, Kelly Sutton, who interviewed me on stage. So that was really fun. And then they like, after you leave, there was this country singer. Oh my gosh, her name's blanking me. I think it's like Terry Allen. Oh my gosh, I feel like I should know. She went, I'm gonna look it up. She sang after me, and I knew like all of her songs, and my mom and I like listened to her growing up, and so that was really cool to see her. And I did some jokes about my dad being like married and divorced so many times, and she came up to me and she's like, my dad has been divorced 5 times. Like, I bet they're like, Terry Clark. She's like, I bet they're best friends and like all this. So that was fun. And so I got to, I don't know, I just felt so welcomed. And then they gave me like this box that is like, you made your debut at the Opry. It's like this beautiful box. And they give you like your ticket stubs and the program and like the poster, and they gave me like a hat, and they're like, we're going to send you a picture of you on stage, and they give you a picture frame. So like, they just make it like really special. And I also felt like there was a bunch of other country singers there, and they were also like nice and enthusiastic with me. And I think that we were saying that in Nashville, everybody feels genuinely excited for you. Like, I think in LA, there's something where it's not cool to be excited about anything, and you have to be a little bit like, oh, whatever, you know? But in Nashville, people are just like actually excited, like in a genuine, like, we're so happy for you and this is so cool, and like, we're not trying to hide our enthusiasm to be cool. So that was fun. And then it also made me be like, oh, this is, I don't know, I always feel like I'm like, this is who I am. I like forgot. I don't listen to country that much anymore, but I listened to just so much country with my mom when I was a kid, driving around in her like white Mustang convertible in Texas, that it just feels like there's something in my bones. And then when I'm there, I feel like I fit in well there, and it surprises me sometimes because I'm like, oh, this feels very comfortable and normal to me. And before I left, Marco and I like got in this fight because he was like looking at some of my outfits that I was taking, because I sent him some pictures, and they were very like country Barbie doll outfits. And to me, it's like a dream to wear those. I'm like performing at the Opry, and not all of them were for stage, but like I was bringing them for like, we did like a photo shoot there, and like, so I was bringing stuff. And he's just like he doesn't understand country stuff. He's from, Switzerland. He speaks English perfectly. You would never know it's not his first language. He has 0 accent. He cannot understand a single word in a country song. Like, a country song plays, he can't even like hear what they're saying. And he was like, wait, you're gonna wear that? And Marco's mom was here, and she was like, oh, poor thing, she has to wear that. This is one of my jackets. That's why I wore it on the podcast. Because I'm like, actually, this is who I am. Sorry, I forgot who I am. I'm this person. And so, I don't know. I don't even know what I was saying about that. But it was just like fun to be in Nashville and be like, oh, there's a part of me that feels really nostalgic to being there. And then I got my makeup done by this woman who does a lot of country singers' makeup, and she like knew I had this second steroid shot, and I was like, yeah, I guess I have to cancel everything. And she's like, oh, I have so many clients who do the double steroid shot thing, and she's like, you have to be careful, and you need to drink a lot of water and stay hydrated, but like, you're gonna be fine. And she told me to eat Lay's potato chips. She's like, Lay's potato chips like actually coat your throat with like the grease or whatever. And I was like, that's my dream to be. I was like, okay, you're my new doctor now. You're telling me I don't need to cancel anything, and I just need to eat Lay's potato chips. So I decided to listen to my makeup artist instead of the Vanderbilt Vocal Institute doctor. And I didn't cancel anything. I did like a podcast. I did my 2 shows at Zany's the next day, which was also then I went to Zany's, like the Nashville Comedy Club. And okay, Kristen Chenoweth has always been like, like an icon to me. I feel like every time, like younger, like going in for auditions, everybody would be like, it's our little Kristen Chenoweth. And I've always been like, I'm going to play her sister in something. I feel like she can sing, I can't sing, but there's something about her. Like, I feel like people used to say things about my voice, and I would always be like, well, Kristen Chenoweth has a little voice, and it like really helped me to be like, oh, there's somebody else like me who has a small voice, and like I didn't feel like, I don't know, people used to say like mean things about my voice when I moved here, and then it really helped me to be like, no, my voice is an asset, and like I can look to this person who also has that voice. So, and then we had Jen Lyon on the podcast, who, you know, is the lead on this show Stumble, who works with Kristen Chenoweth, and we had just talked about Kristen Chenoweth. And so I'm at Zany's, and I'm backstage at my show, and my manager texted me, and he's like, Britt, is Kristen Chenoweth in the green room with you? And I was like, what? I had no idea Kristen Chenoweth lived in Nashville. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I thought he was making like a dad joke where he's like, oh, somebody said you look like Kristen Chenoweth or sound like Kristen Chenoweth. And he's like, and I was like, what are you talking about? And also the day before, Kristen Chenoweth had commented on one of my cheerleading reels, like one of my stand-up jokes. And I had seen that she had commented on it about like, you should watch Stumble or whatever. And then he was like, is she back there? And then I was like, he's like, no, I heard she's here. I heard she's going to sing on this show. And it wasn't comedy and music show, but they had this like country singer who was like singing in between us. And I was like, what? And so I looked in her story to be like, is she in Nashville? And I saw 2 of my reels in her story. She had reshared my cheerleading reels in her story. So it was like such a crazy thing to be sitting back there and like look her up to be like, is she here? And then to see myself in like my like heroes Instagram story. And I was like, what is going on? And then they're like, no, she's actually here. And I asked the guy who runs the show, I was like, is Kristen Chenoweth here? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm really good friends with her husband. And she's here, she's in the audience. And I had already like gone up, so thank goodness I'd already gone up, because I feel like I don't like to know who's in the audience when I'm performing. But she was there. And then I met her after the show, and we like talked about Stumble and Jen Lyon, and we talked about, she's like, I just found you last night, like I've been watching your clips, and we took a picture together. Her husband was like, I was watching you perform, and I kept being like, she's like a little you, she's a little you, and I was like, oh my God, this is my dream come true. She was so nice. Apparently she's the queen of Nashville, and it was just like a, you know, weird coincidental moment. I was like, I love Nashville. I got to perform at the Opry the next night. Kristen Chenoweth was at my show. I was like, I'm so happy here. Meanwhile, at home, Benjamin got the flu, which is probably what I had, which weirdly he got it after me. And then Penelope ended up getting sick later, and Marco was just like hanging on by a thread because Benjamin was just crying all day, every day, poor guy. And I'm gone for a week. I was gone for a week, which is crazy as like a mom with a 1-year-old to be gone for a week. And the last 2 days I did just stay like quiet in my hotel room because I was the doctor really freaked me out. I went back for a follow-up, and he's like, you could get scar tissue and like you could not recover. And I was like, okay. So I stayed quiet in my hotel room until my last couple shows on Saturday, and then I left Sunday, and it just was like so special and fun to be there. And yeah, I just feel so honored that I got to perform on that stage. It was so thrilling. And yeah, I guess I love Nashville. I don't think I could live there because Penelope would turn into the next Erica Kirk. So we're not moving there because I feel like she would very quickly catch on to that. But besides, I would love to go there all the time. I just was blown away by how nice everyone was. So anyways, I wear sparkly jackets now, I guess, you guys. Thanks so much for watching, listening. Make sure you subscribe, follow us, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.